All the way back in 1998, Subaru gave America its first taste of the JDM forbidden fruit when they dropped the first model year of the all-new Subaru Impreza 2.5 RS. As the first models hit American soil, you could say everybody wanted a taste of Subaru's newest performance-oriented vehicle.
Today, it's pretty much a guarantee you'll find a WRX variant of this at your local vape shop or a whole line of them at your local Cars and Coffee. But these cars in the 90s changed the game for Subaru.
With their involvement in the World Rally Championship and being dangled in front of our faces in PlayStation's Gran Turismo, the RS quickly grew a cult following here in the States around the turn of the century. Today, the 4-year run of Subaru's RS GC8s has dwindled significantly in numbers, with only 1,057 of the 5-speed manual sedans hitting the States in its final model year.
Now more than 25 years after the release of this vehicle, there's still one question we've got to answer. Is this thing really the icon it was made out to be, or is it just another pretty face in the crowd?
This year, along with the help of companies like Whiteline, Bilstein, and more, our goal is to find out for ourselves what exactly made this car so popular, and then see if we can prove the theory that it's more fun to drive a slow car fast. Finally, to up the ante even more, thanks to Prismatic Powders, Cerakote, and a ton of other partners, we're going to be giving this car away in its final form at the SEMA show in Las Vegas, where one of you will be joining us for the final day to see your car stacked up against some of the craziest builds in the country, enjoy some time in Las Vegas, and when it's all said and done, you get to take the Subaru home. Now, there's really no need to overcomplicate this, so the rules of this giveaway are quite simple. If you want to win this car, make sure you're 1, following Instagram, that's 1 entry, and you're subbed to YouTube, that's your 2nd entry. From there, if you want to see the full rules list, go to the link in my bio here or on my Instagram where you can find out more. Now, the most commonly asked question after announcing this project is, when are we going to announce the winner of the giveaway? That is going to be decided later this fall, because between now and then, we have a ton of things that we want to do to the Subaru to get it ready to go for the SEMA show. So until we reach that point, make sure you're subbed over here on YouTube, following on Instagram, and until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy the first video in our Subaru build series. Before we get into our first round of modifications, we're going to take the Subaru to an undisclosed location and, using some basic timers and tools, we're going to lay down some baseline tests to see how well our stock 2.5 RS handles more than 25 years after it rolled off the factory assembly line. First off, using some cones to set up a slalom, we're going to test the Impreza's body roll and lateral stability on a stock suspension setup. This will also give us a great baseline to look back on as we continue to go through our suspension refresh in future videos. As we're setting up right now, we've got the Sub right there, we've got our cameras set up, and we're on the end of a dead-end road here, setting up cones that way for the slalom section of our tests. So if you see Chad out there, we've got 5 sets of cones, 30 feet apart?
30 feet apart.
Yes, so we got 5 sets of cones, 30 feet apart there, with a 50-foot lead to our start gate sitting right here with the Subarus. So as we go to do the slalom section, we'll run right through here, start there, cut in, get a couple through that, and we'll be able to see that from both ends, back and front. Then, since we're already out testing, we'll take the car up to 60 miles an hour and then all the way back down to 0 with some straight line acceleration and braking tests. Once we have those tests done, we'll have what we need to tear into our first round of modifications from Whiteline suspension, starting with a full new set of front and rear bushings for the Impreza. So now that we've got a plan, it was time for me to lace up and jump in the Subaru for our first round of baseline testing.
Copy that. I'm going to step out to the side of the road and let this camera roll.
All right, y'all, so we've got a camera over here. We've got a camera down there. We've got 50 feet to the first cone of this slalom. Throw on the Simpson gloves, the Simpson shoes. We're going to fire this thing up. We're not going for anything crazy right now. The goal of this car isn't to make it some super high horsepower, crazy beast. It's to take all of the other performance aspects, the suspension, the wheels, the tires, make it a proper setup and something fun to drive. Right now, she's bone stock. So we're going to see how this handles on this slalom course. Let's go. Give her a little rev for good fortune.
right, so first and foremost, the steering on this and the play between when the wheel grabs is rough. It's definitely rough. That's one of the things that we're gonna aim to improve very early on, is that handling. A lot of body roll right now. Throttle response is okay, but all in all, just kind of sloppy, which is all right. That was our first run, and I think the slalom might be a little bit tight, but we'll find out.
So I mentioned before that we have multiple camera angles. Now we're going to take a look at what actually went down. I'm just going to come out of the gate here and say this is the first time Harmon or I have run this through any sort of slalom, so both of us are still familiarizing ourselves with the car, how big it is, where the wheels are, and all of that. So, of course, a couple of cones are going to be knocked over. But past that, let's look at what the car is doing. Right out of the gate, we can tell that there is quite a bit of body roll, and you can see from the video inside the car that as we go to turn the wheel all the way from the left to all the way from the right, there's quite a bit of slop that you have to overcome before you can get the steering to actually engage and change direction of the car. What that means for us in this case is that both the time and the effort it takes to turn the wheel from the left all the way the other direction to the right to take on the next cone ends up costing us quite a bit of accuracy with the steering early on. That's one of the things we're absolutely going to be looking to tighten up in this first round of upgrades. One aspect that is hard to catch here is understeer versus oversteer, and while I don't necessarily think that the car is doing either, we can expect to see more of that one way or another when we get this thing out on a real track.
I feel like this might play better in second. Yeah, give myself a little bit more room to the rear and take it in from second. Copy that.
Now with that first pass out of the way, let's take a look at what happened on the following 3 trials. Specifically, I want to focus on how much visible body roll there is from the front of the car. Watch the nose of the car as we turn in each direction and watch how much one end tucks and the other end lifts up. While the car doesn't have any sway bars right now, we can expect to see that diminish greatly once we throw a set of sway bars on the front and rear in a future episode. Now in both runs 2 and 3 for me taking this through, it's pretty much the same examples as in round 1, but this time you can see I'm trying to get a little bit more open so that I'm not clipping those cones. You can see the body roll on the front and from the back of the car, and in round 3, I took the approach a little bit wider to try and swing it out a little bit more, and that's where you're really seeing the steering slop come into play as we have to correct back the other direction. After that, Harmon jumped in the car to take his 3 passes so that we could see if there was anything different between the 2 drivers.
Good. Ready to go.
Now as Harmon takes off here, you can see that he's taking a slightly wider approach after watching me suck at doing this the first 3 rounds. And again, you can see him fighting that wheel to get it correcting both ways, and you can really see the nose lifting on each pass. Harmon's second run was more of the same results. You can see the car thrashing itself back and forwards, and past that, I'll let you guys see what you pick out in this car. Finally, to keep things fair, Harmon went for a 3rd pass. So as you can see, we're not perfect drivers and the suspension's not perfect on this.
I lost the steering wheel there for a second.
Apparently Harmon lost the steering wheel there for a second. But now, with the slalom done, we're going to do a straight 0 to 60, and we're going to do a straight 60 to stop and check our stopping distance.
Now we haven't done this yet, and we definitely know we need to replace the brakes on this.
Okay, Dylan, you are ready to go. Recording has started on both cameras. And Chad is good, you are good. Go, go, go.
Alright, so for our first pass, our stopping distance from the line was a measurement of 98 feet. Then we flipped the car around, run back for 2 more rounds, and on our second pass, we got a stopping distance of 100 feet from the line. For our final and 3rd pass, we got a stopping distance of 95 feet, bringing our average to a 97-foot stopping distance. Finally, we finished the day off with a 0 to 60 pull with a somewhat astounding time of 7.6 seconds. Though hand time, this is only 0.2 seconds off of Subaru's stated 7.8 second 0 to 60. Not bad for a 165 horsepower 4-cylinder. After yesterday's first round of baseline testing on the Subaru, we've come back to the house to crack into the first step in upgrading the whole suspension of the underside of this car. And that first step is sitting right here on the table. We're gonna go pull everything out of the box and show you guys what we're planning on doing today. So for those of you who don't know who Whiteline is, these guys are one of the industry leaders in suspension and aftermarket suspension components for vehicles like the one behind us, our 2.5 RS. So through the next 5 months, we're gonna be doing multiple installments of Whiteline suspension components on the car, taking a look at what each piece does, what the advantages of each upgrade are. And we're starting with a front and rear bushings kit. And then we also have this whole toolkit to help us out with what we're doing today. Pull stuff out.
All right, so starting off, front suspension kit. I believe these are the main bushings.
Anti-lift caster kit, lower control arm.
It's a sick color actually too.
I do steer rack mount,
Gearbox.
control arm, inner
Cross member mount.
front,
Heavy duty.
gearbox cross member mount. Okay.
Steering rack mount.
Also, Whiteline, shout out your packaging. It's sick.
It's actually glorious.
This is the rear kit.
Rear kit has so many more bushings.
So trailing arm front,
Diff mounts and cradle. Trailing arm rear.
control arm rear,
And
what the hell is
diff
this?
support outrigg.
Cool.
Sweet.
5 bags for the rear, 3 bags plus those for the front.
Yep.
And then the final thing that we're going, to be using for this install, and a very important tool to have if you're taking this on yourself, is Whiteline's bushing install kit.
Which is actually massive.
Oh yeah.
This has quite literally every single size
That you need for
that
front,
you could
rear.
possibly
Yeah.
need.
Oh, heavy.
To kick this whole install off, we've got our front bushing essentials kit and the rear bushing essentials kit, as well as Whiteline's bushing toolkit. We're going to start by doing the front bushing essentials kit. Then once we have the front installed, we'll come back for a part 2 where we take on the rear essentials kit.
So it turns out my mic was actually turned off when I just explained what we were going to be doing. So we've got the car lifted up, sitting on jacks, and we're going to start with the front kit. Then we're going to move back to the rear. With the car up, we pulled the front wheels off. We've got underneath it because we're starting to locate where we're going to remove the bushings on the control arms for the front. It looks like we also have to drop the steering rack because we have steering racks to support
Just
steering rack mount bushings as well. So we've got a lot of stuff that we got to pull off from the underside of it first before we can swap these in. We're just figuring out where we're going to start on that now.
Now I will say we didn't actually have to drop the steering rack, but we were focused on the wrong things to be worried about. 25-year-old bushings on a car like this will be rough to take out no matter what.
So, we've already pretty much just started as a baseline, just getting everything broken loose. So this is our main rear bushing, which you guys saw are those orange parts up there. The front bushing we're gonna take off as well. Those will be replaced, I believe, in this kit. So we gotta take all this off to pretty much just droop it down and get all these bushings out. But these are ridiculously tight.
Yeah, that's the
Considering-
problem with this being this old, is right now
Yeah.
everything that probably has never been touched. So breaking it loose, we're at pretty high risk of probably having to go get some replacement bolts.
Yep.
Which isn't Whiteline's fault. It's just that the car's this old.
Yep.
But once we get these off, we can start on the install.
Actually, good science.
There we go.
Voila.
Okay, so we got front off, rear off. Now it's just hanging on the back of the brake spindle, which is fine. But that's our start. You can see, can we see the bushing?
Yes.
Hold that right there.
Let's see. There we go. Yep, those on both ends are just kind of archaic.
Yeah, quite literally.
Early progress update, as we've only got the one off at this point. We're gonna go to the store or some store and buy an impact, a bigger one, so that we can actually break these loose. If you're doing this yourself, I recommend having a substantial impact to break 25-year-old bolts apart. So we're gonna go buy one and then come back to this. So I'm at Home Depot right now with a certified mechanic, and I'm terrified because he's convinced he knows what we need to buy, and he's gonna make me buy expensive tools. So we need a tool sponsorship. Oh boy.
Would you like an e-receipt?
This is, fortunately, the silver lining of spending money at Home Depot is that we get to take this thing for today, which is wicked. And Harmon has it. As we've been cracking into this install, between when we pulled the bushings and everything out for the front kit and now, we've learned a couple of things. And these are things I think if you're doing this aspect of an install on a vehicle that is a similar 26-year-old car, 25-year-old car, you should consider. That consideration is that when you're going to press out and deal with old bushings, like the ones that are on these 25-year-old control arms, some of the rubber is just going to be stuck in there. It's just going to seize in. So on the driver's side of the car last night, we fought for a couple of hours using both the bushing press tool that we got from Whiteline, and we had to get a little bit creative in order to get these out. Now, if your car's newer, probably won't run into that issue and it'll be straightforward. But when you're dealing with something like this, everything doesn't always go directly to plan, so we had to work around it. But we got the one side out, dropped, and replaced. Now we're going over with what we just learned to our passenger side. We're gonna drop that control arm completely out, pull the bushings all out of it, and then get the new ones in, put it back in there. Then we're gonna move on to the other two aspects of the front kit, which is the transmission cross member bushing and the steering rack bushings. So we'll drop those out as well and replace those. We looked underneath already, it should be way more straightforward. Rides like crap right now. There we go. Cool. With that dropped ball joint right here, we'll split that off, pull this out, and then we can get to replacing that and the backside of it. If you tell me to go buy a fork, I'm gonna punch you.
Mechanic trick. Wherever you find on site.
Is the cat getting scared?
Yeah.
All right, so check this out. This is the ball joint that we just split out. And then with the control arm out, Harmon took the impact, split this off. If you look at that, that is getting replaced with that. And then on the back, this is what we struggle with a lot on the other side. This bushing, because of the geometry of the control arm, we can't get the rod all the way through onto the back of this to press it through. So we had to get a little bit creative. We might have to use a socket to get this to actually spin itself out, but we'll make it happen one way or another and swap the new stuff in. I want you to stay.
What you doing in here?
I'm cleaning the dishes. Sprouting.
The dish is in question here.
This is the beauty of having a laundry room sink right next to the garage without having a parts wash bin. And apparently we have gloves, which I didn't actually realize. But this thing's just coated in so much crap that before we continue to fight it, I wanted to clean her up a little bit.
Perform a little refurbishment on the parts that we are installing.
Just like I said earlier, 25-year-old bushing. We're trying to get creative to get this thing out, but it's not coming easy. So we've got the middle sleeve through there,
pressed out a little bit first. Now we have a 1 and a 5 sides of those on both sides, and it's a pain in the butt. But we've got this on one end, and he's on the other, holding it up, and we're slowly
pushing this center out.
There it is. Okay, yeah, we're slowly pushing that through that to get it out. It's just taking forever. And there, that is like warm. So this is what we were dealing with. That metal sleeve stuck some of the rubber of the other stuff, but we're gonna replace that now.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and explain. I'm holding this from the completely wrong angle too. But inner piece is finally out. This we had to use the Sawzall and actually cut 2 little, basically notches in it to release the tension. Came right out. So, perfect.
Yep. All right, let's get that the rest of the way. There's our final result on that effort. That is now clean. That was the last piece we were fighting. So now we're gonna take the new bushing. Well, we're gonna clean this up a little bit, hit some paint on it, and then sleeve the new bushing through and throw that back in on the other side. So we scuffed and sprayed the control arm before we press that bushing back in. While we're waiting for that to dry, we're gonna move over to this stuff, which we have this set of bushings for that cross member, and then we've got these that are gonna go up in the steering rack to replace the existing ones there. We're probably gonna start with the cross member, then drop the steering rack last, get those in, and then put the control arms back on and tighten everything up.
A little sketchy.
Yeah, everything just sagged up here.
Oh, that's a different side. I don't know. Subaru engineers.
So that dropped that out. There.
This one's already out. I just want to make sure that we're going to come out all okay.
The steering rack bushings.
I need to go wash my hands.
These are the new ones. This is what was carrying it. And that's half of the old one on his hand.
Pretty much. I probably should have wiped this down.
Okay, so that was way easier. Now it's number 2.
This one's not so easy.
It's square.
Yeah, this one's gonna be a little more interesting.
Maybe. Will it focus through there?
Going so great. I just spent the last 42 hours getting the bushing back onto the steering rack. Not actually, but that was kind of a pain. Everything's just greasy and nasty. And so now that all the bushings are actually in, we're gonna go ahead, put all the brackets back on to basically just mount everything back up. So we're gonna go from there.
One thing also that we realized that we really should have done before we did this is have the underside of the car dry ice blasted. Down the line, we're going to be replacing these components again with other stuff from Whiteline. So when we do that, we're definitely going to dry ice blast the underside of the car, because right now it's just disgusting. And him and I are having to deal with that and try and keep things clean as they're going back in so that we're not putting bushings over a bunch of grease, but we're doing our best.
For those of you saying, Don't use an impact on old boats. This thing has like 1 foot-pound of torque. Here you go, buddy.
One there and one back there, and they're back in. So the cross member is back up. Now we got to throw those screws back in. Then we'll throw the control arms, that one back up, and throw that one on.
And now down to the table. And now back up.
Oh boy. Okay, so we have the actual control arm on the table right now. We're gonna go ahead and bench assemble this one so we can show you guys kind of what goes where and what is what. These basically are your front of the control arm bushings. This is your rear main mount section bushing, which is absolutely gloriously colored by our friends over at Whiteline. So that's awesome. This is the main washer for it and obviously the nut for it. So we're gonna go ahead, all you do, literally press these in, get them all the way together to those washers, obviously touch, slide the shaft in right after you grease it, which is what I must do next. And then wear gloves, kids. So putting all this in, slides in easy. This side goes in, so this big flat surface is actually up against here. So that goes like that. And the actual beveled side is what goes towards the bushing. So this is kind of almost seems counterintuitive as Dylan and I were talking about it. But in fact, that side does actually go onto the bushing. So very interesting.
Throw that on.
So that goes on there. And the nut threads onto there. And that is pretty much assembled. So we're gonna tighten this up a little bit more, obviously, before we get in the car, get all this on, and then show you guys underneath where it all goes. Back in we go, baby. We should probably get this thing set in stone first before trying to tighten. All right, guys, so as you can see here, we have all of our parts cleaned up. We have our ball joint pressed in now. These are pretty trashed, so had to get new ones, obviously. All of this is, like we said, pre-assembled on the table. We make sure we have this correctly aligned, so our shelf facing in, that'll be the main point. We're gonna get everything kind of set in stone first, get this up into our mount here, and then go from there. Ball joints are so much stiffer.
Well, no, they're brand new. Oh, that works. Okay.
It wasn't. Now that we've got pretty much everything spun up to contact on both lower control arm sides, we do have the wheel on the other side. We're gonna go ahead and put this one on, get it onto its own weight, tighten everything up.
What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? What's up?
Shop dog, shop dog, shop dog. Now we drop this down onto its weight.
D-Dog has lots to say.
What?
Do you not like that?
What? What? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Cool. Now get underneath here. Control arms are both in, and we're gonna go in with the weight on it, shake it a couple of times, but they're gonna do it for me. Now that we've got all the weight on it, we're gonna tighten the rear, tighten the front, and everything's good to go, and we can move on to the back of the car.
so done with stuff falling in my face. I'm so ready for this project to be over for tonight. Door closed, door open.
I'll just leave it.
Yeah,
so it's night and it's raining, but we just took this out because we had to spin it around in order to do the rear. So of course we went out and we did a little bit of a rip. It's definitely better, and we're gonna know more once we get through the rear. But just on the front, our steering grab and how far we had to throw it to get the steering to engage, that improved immediately. Whether that was the ball joints or the bushings, we don't know. But it's better, and we're gonna jump into the rear tomorrow morning and then go out and do the same test that we did before again.
Okay, so maybe that was a little bit of a lie. We ended up changing plans and taking the Subaru over to Sandblast Restorations to have the whole thing dry ice blasted. So when we come back with part 2 in the near future, we'll have the whole undercarriage of the car cleaner and ready to go when we go into this rear bushing install. With that, that marks the end of this video. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you know when the new videos are coming out. Like, subscribe, and let us know what you want to see more of. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Where did my nuts go?